Hi guys. So I'm drinking coffee. Um, so today's reading, in a way, is a complement to the question about Neil Gorsuch. I had done a reading about whether the Trump appointees will stay or go, but then I saw an article recently about all what they're trying to do with the lower court appointees, and I'm still kind of concerned or interested. So I did another one specific to the judiciary because the article was saying that they really are trying to push this reshaping of the judiciary. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I get sort of scared because, like I said, as you know, they want to undo civil rights, they want to destroy education and so forth. So we have to be, keep mindful, right, of what they're trying to do because they do this is in a way more than just the incompetence of Trump. This is what is the scariest, right? Because we don't want this stuff to happen long term, right? So this is in a way what concerns me the most. And okay, so looking at the reading, I first what pops up immediately, and I've said this before, whenever you have plenty some significant number, this one doesn't have a ton of court cards, but it has some. So not court cards, major arcana cards. So you have the 2, 6, and 8. You have Wheel of Fortune, the Fool reversed, and High Priestess. And right there, in a way, you can get kind of a vibe for the reading. And another interesting position is number 3, which is the Quid Pro Quo card, and the Garden, which is something public. So I have right away, I have a feeling that when you see on the first column the 2, Wheel of Fortune, it feels like they want to create this change. They want to push for this big change. But then the column number 3, you have the Fool reversed, which means like literally a fool. And somebody who takes too many risks, who's not thinking. Basically, the worst elements of risk taking, right? A person being foolish. There's something good about starting over, starting something new, obviously, always. But there's such a thing as foolishness, right? When a person makes the wrong decisions or does the wrong things, or it just basically goes through very risky behavior without thinking of consequences. And that's what you have on the position 6. And then what's interesting is the High Priestess in the future upright, which I kind of feel like I'm loving this whenever this card shows up, because it's saying there's something you don't know yet, but it's going to come up and it's going to change things because you have the coffin right next to it. So very interesting. It's saying that, to me, it tells me that although they started with this interest in changing, turning things around, they were foolish, and stuff's going to come out that's going to end whatever they're working on, what they want to do. So now let's get to the details of the reading. If we look at number 1, we have the Disappointment card and we have the Whip. And the Whip is aggression, it is fighting, it is combative, right? And we can feel, to us, that's in a way, that's how this administration feels, right? The kind of painful. It's painful for us because they're pushing, they're being very aggressive. They want to make their views, they want to push their views by force. And that's what it feels like, right? It's painful. So in a way, I think what it's saying is that they are disappointed at the way the country was going. You know, when we had Obama, to them that was bad because, hello, they're racist. That's the reason for being bad, and they don't want, like, when things benefit majority of people, not them. So it feels that they're disappointed and they're willing to push hard and to fight in order to get what they want. And you have number 2. We have, what does that mean? It means they really want to change things and they want to expand. They want to expand their ideas or their policies. And how do they do that? If we look at number 3, we have the Quid Pro Quo card. And in a way, it's telling me very literally, we want the quid pro quo situation to be in the public. So if we think about it, what does it mean? It means that the judiciary has a big role in shaping how these values that are essentially whoever pays gets paid, what is it? Pay to play, I guess, right? In a way that it becomes part of society, right? That might sound so horrible to say, right? Pay to play becomes part of society, but that's what it's showing. They want to expand this into society. They want to create this change where whoever is, gives them something, gets something back. And I think that goes into how they're making these judiciary appointments. Okay. Then we look at the second column, starting with number 4. We have the King of Pentacles reversed. So to me, that means somebody who, I think of it as the Steve Mnuchin card, a person who only thinks about money to the detriment of everything else. And is the miser card, a card of the wrong elements of money, okay? And we have someone there, it could be Trump. It could embody just the judiciary, but I think it's a bit of both. And then we have underneath the burden, it's like they really want to push their values because they have the heart there. They want to go all the way. But then underneath we have, this is pretty interesting, the loyal soldier is an idiot, right? Or is completely foolish. So you have a feeling that whoever their loyalists are not the smartest people, okay? And then they're just not just not competent, but they're just idiotic, okay? And they're not well qualified, obviously, to do whatever it is that needs to be done, okay? And we look at the storyline from the Lenormand. We have the man's values are obtained or serve the loyalists. So that's what they want. They want loyalists who share the values with the man, okay, the same values. And then we have the third column showing fighting, okay, fighting and competitive, and it's sort of like a lesser version of the whip. It can be good competition, but competition about something related to the election, okay? And then we have that interesting position of the high priestess with the coffin. And to me, this reminds me a little bit of when I did the reading about the Alabama senator. I did this way before this whole thing happened, and it said something. It was this card, but it was upside down, which now in retrospect probably means like unsavory secrets. But this, I think, because it's not upside down, probably just means there's stuff that you don't know about yet. In a way, when this card shows up to me in the tarot, it means not necessarily a secret, but something that you don't yet know. For example, let's say that you applied for a job and you think you went really well, but then you didn't get it, and then 3 months later you learned from a friend that so-and-so that they knew got a job because the cousin, you know what I mean? Those kinds of details, they're not secrets, but you don't know at the time. And that's what it is. It's telling us that there's something we don't know yet that's going to bring an ending to this. And the coffin is right below the election card. So something about the election is going to bring an ending to. And if you look at the row where the number 8 is, you look at 2 and 5. So if the goal is to expand their values, it's going to come to an end. And why? Because if we look then at the column, we have something related to the election. And what do we have underneath? We have the older man card. So the choices of the older man. So just looking at the full column again to 7, 8, 9, the storyline of the Lenormand is a choice leads to an end, right? The election leads to an end of this through the older man. And it's also an ending of the older man. So it's telling me, I think, pretty clearly that it's not working. It's not working out, whatever goal they had. But they definitely were pushing very hard to make their values established, but I don't think it's happening, okay? And then we look at the diagonals. We look at 1, 5, 9. Painful values. They fight for the values, aggressive values through an older man. And then we have society through values implemented through an election. So we have this, and then we read, if we look at what the top row is, which means what's on their mind, what's known for them. Okay. It means stress. The man or the men in plural, the men are stressed about election, consequences of the election. And underneath, it's basically the subconscious, right? What is something that you're not necessarily thinking of, but that's at the root of it. You have the society of loyalists represented through the older man. Okay. So in a way, I think that's their goal, right? That they're not, it's like what drives them is this, the society of older men. Like in a way this could be, if you put it in a kind of like a radical linguistic term, you could say it's a like patriarchy, right? You could say it's the society where they want to create this culture of like nepotism and loyalists, right? Loyalists ruling society and ruling society through the older man's values. So again, I don't think that this is going to happen because, like I said, because I've added tarot and the tarot major arcana cards are important. We really, when we look at the reading, we really have to focus on these cards first. And they're saying very clearly that, especially the last column, which is meant to be the future, right? So the farthest out, we have this thing that we don't know about yet that's going to create an ending. And so that's important. And I feel the whole thing where everything is tied up to these values. And I think the card of disappointment has come up before. And I think, I don't remember if it was Ryan McConnell, something about the Republicans. I think they have this disappointment, this resentment in a way, right? And they wanted to kind of move through it, and they wanted to push their values. They really were prepared to make a big change, but things didn't quite happen the way they wanted, and I don't think they realized how bad the whole thing with Trump was going to be. I think they thought maybe that it was going to be probably like how it is with donors, where it's like, oh, we push their values and that's it, or whatever. But I think they weren't prepared for the amount of corruption, I think, right? It's because I think if you think about it, they could have made it work for them if they had been only a little bit less corrupt. If only Trump had been able to really pretend better, or to not be an asshole 20%, like not 20%, all of the time, then maybe people would be willing to overlook it. But it's almost, and I've seen this in one of the readings, I think, about him, and when I saw that, it really made me understand things a lot better, that this behavior is a means for him to get what he wants. Because we look at it and think, oh my God, we get so annoyed. Oh, look at this person. I can't believe he did that, or I said this and that. But the reality, that's a tactic. It's almost like a military strategy. Okay, let's distract people. Let's make them angry so I can get what I want, so I can be. And I remember it was like the card of bullying, and on top of it, there was the corruption card. So they bully in order to be corrupt. I guess what I'm saying is that if they had been able to do this a little bit more discreetly, then maybe it could have worked. But the reality is that because they only want to appoint people who are loyal, and it seems that the large majority of them are not competent at all, then you have these issues because things are not working, right? And then the whole thing with the whole anti-government conversation was that, oh, government is so incompetent, we hate the government this, government that. But now we have these people who have never worked in the government, and what have they done? Nothing. They've trashed the place. Okay, they basically are trying to make things not work at all. That's their goal, And so in a way, they're being. If there was a theory that the government is bad, let's make government smaller, let's destroy government, blah blah blah. What we're seeing is that it doesn't work that way. When you do that, you create complete disaster, And in a way, it's not going to work. That's what it's showing here, okay? And if I look at this card and the cards, the reading about Gorsuch, it seems very clear what's happening, okay? That it doesn't have legs. It doesn't work in the end, okay? So, we shouldn't be super worried about it. But I feel like, it's not a repetition of the reading, but the reading I had done before. It's a more specific question, right? Will they be able to reshape? And it shows clearly that that was their goal. They really went for it and they really wanted to do it. But because, if we look at number 4, the King of Pentacles reversed, because of financial corruption, and number 6, idiocy, right? Stupidity and the inability to do something, to follow through, then things don't work, right? Whereas they, who knows, they might have been able to get away with some things if they had been a little less conspicuously bad. Okay, so so anyway, so that's the reading. The answer to will Trump succeed in reshaping the judiciary? All right. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye.